Got a little union action in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We had 4 pretty good-sized cafes, part of a chain. Restaurant group owns them. And so, workers of the world unite. We got a little union action. And so employees of the cafes, they decided to union up. All right. Come to find out that ownership didn't meet their demands and instead said, "You're fired." Let's get into it. Here we go. Just going to walk you right on through the timeline here. Workers at 4 Cafe Serez locations vote to unionize. The staff will unionize with Unite Here 17 or You're Fired Here 17. Either which one is okay to use. More than a month after declaring their intentions to form a union, Baristas at Cafe Serez have voted to unionize. The union, which represents service industry workers in Minnesota, announced the results of the election on Saturday, August the 3rd. Workers at 4 Cafe Serez locations, as well as Colita, informed Chief Chef Daniel Del Prado's DDP restaurant group of their intention to unionize in June. The company did not voluntarily recognize either union, forcing a vote overseen by the labor. The company did not voluntarily recognize either union, forcing a vote overseen by the National Labor Relations Board. Now, here they are. Here's a group of take a look at your most recently unionized baristas, also known as unemployed baristas, because that's how this goes sometimes. You've got this worker of the world unite mentality going on, and then there's this other thing called reality, which is oftentimes you're running on such small margins, you don't have room to give them a partridge in a pear tree, whatever demands they need. We need more this. We need more that. We need more. I'm not feeling good about myself. I need you to make me feel better. You're fired. It's the beauty of this. Hey, you know what? We appreciate you unionizing, and we understand that you're coming from over here, and ownership is coming from over here. Ownership and management is coming from over here. And unfortunately, we weren't able to, work something out here. We had a little clash, and unfortunately, all of you folks, you're fired. Yeah, we're gonna close the cafes down. We've got other businesses that are doing quite well that aren't unionizing. So we're going to stick with those, and good luck with that. Good luck with we're releasing you to an opportunity to better yourselves in another cafe where hopefully you can unionize and get what you need there. Unite Here says that there are roughly 30 baristas employed across the 4 cafes, a majority, 88%, that are all fired now, of voting workers opted in favor of unionization in Saturday's election. Well, 88% of 30, okay, majority, so call it, 25, 26, something like that? I don't even know. How are you guys feeling about being out of a job? The fact that you no longer have a job. Your store was closed down because of your actions. So how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel warm and fuzzy now that your store is literally closed down? I feel really proud today. How do you feel today, though? Because you're fired and you're out of business. I feel really proud today. Miriam Kirkachi, lead barista at Cafe Serez, lead barista, said in a statement, "For too long, my work has been dismissed as unskilled." Okay. All right. And baristas like me, disrespected and undervalued. You know what? You're doing a job. You're getting paid a wage. Suck it up, sunshine. Go to work. Don't complain. Do your thing. Keep that paycheck coming. And when you start squawking, you might get fired. Know that that's an option. I feel like a lot of these people just live in this alternate reality where such things as profit don't really come into play. Instead, it's all about, how am I feeling? Is my self-respect, is it being honored? Do I have a warm, fuzzy feeling in my stomach all the time? No. Life is hard. Get a helmet. Right? I mean, it's just absolutely silly. Sometimes you're going to have things that they don't go your way. Sometimes you're going to make less money than you think you should be worth. All right. And sometimes when you unionize, your stores get closed down. That's what we got going on today. But I found the path to get the dignity and stable career that I've always deserved, and that's through a union. Dignity and stable career through a union. Let that sink in. How's that working out for you now? I'm listening. How is that working out for you now? Because, you don't have a job. Yeah, that whole rent thing, that's going to come due if you don't have enough money saved up. Eviction. So how's that unionization thing going? I'm just, asking for a friend here. I hope this sends a message to other service and restaurant workers in the Twin Cities and beyond. What we all deserve to get fired? You honestly think you deserve to get you did get fired. You unionized and then got fired immediately. So representatives for DDP did not respond to a request for comment. Results of the vote from Kalita workers are still pending. The union says the whatever hasn't set a date for a hearing. Yada, yada. Boring. You're fired. You're out of here. You're out of here, sunshine. Oh, here we are again. Oh, look at them. They're just brothers. They're so proud of their efforts. Maybe you could do this move, with the other guy in the unemployment line. I'm just saying, maybe you could go home and make some coffee because you got those skills. Might as well just use those skills, right? So we go from that one, the unionized, to all 4 Cafe Serez locations will close in April. Boom. Done. Employees of the cafes owned by Daniel Del Prado's restaurant were informed on Thursday. Boom. You're gone. So on Friday, March 28th, signs were posted inside Cafe Serez locations. A day after Southwest Voices revealed an email had been sent to staff confirming the impending closures of the DDP restaurant group, which is owned by Twin Cities restaurateur Daniel Del Prado. And Daniel doesn't take a lot of guff, and he's like, yeah, that's not really going to work out. So we appreciate your efforts to unionize, and we want to respect what you're doing. But, we have this little thing called profitability and return to investors on our end. And those two aren't really working in a way that are matching up with our corporate goals and our corporate needs. So you're going to need to find a job anywhere else but here at Cafe Serez or our other 3 Cafe Serez places. You're done. You're fired. You're gone. Yeah, and take that little sign with you where you were going to unionize and protest, right? After careful consideration, we have made the difficult decision to close Cafe Serez. The sign read, "We are deeply grateful for your support you've shown us over the years. It's been an honor to serve you and be part of your daily routine, celebrations, and special moments." Company shared a statement through the law firm. Our most immediate priority is to ensure that our impacted cafe members are treated with the dignity and respect they deserve during this process. The dignity and respect that they deserve for unionizing is what they should have said. And then P.S., you're fired. We are working with Unite Here Local 17, the union representing the baristas as we work through the effects of this difficult business decision. It's because you asked for too much. You asked for something that ownership can't give you and doesn't want to give you. And they basically said, go F yourselves, and we'll keep working on our other businesses that are not unionizing. I mean, is there any other way to really see it? Last August, roughly 30 of the employees voted to unionize. We just read about that. Heads of restaurant empires like Daniel Del Prado would rather close shop than give a fair share to the workers who make them rich. Restaurants, they work on a margin of 3 to 5%. I mean, you got to really Johnny hustle to make it big with a restaurant. I mean, and long term, right? So Cafe Serez charges $16 for a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, but refuses to pay its baristas more than minimum wage. There's a thing called economics. I mean, everything has gone up. Everything. Bacon has gone up. Eggs. I mean, you're living on planet whatever if you don't recognize that eggs have gone up. And cheese and bread. Everything has gone up. So you've got this idea that just because they can charge $16 for a sandwich, then all of a sudden there's enough profit in it there for them to give them, everybody above minimum wage or whatever it is that they're looking for. The restaurant industry is fundamentally broken. And but so then why did you get a job there? Why did you get a job there if you knew the restaurant industry is fundamentally broken and workers will not stop organizing and demanding more from their employers until they have the basic respect, living wage, and health care they need? That industry doesn't really work that way. I didn't create the rules, right? I'm just reading the news here. So when informed of employees' decision to unionize, the company did not voluntarily recognize the union. Union members had not reached terms on their first contract till after months of negotiations. Here it is. Here's the, you're fired. After careful consideration, the plan is to operate all 4 locations through Sunday, April 13th, yesterday. Closed. Cerrado. We hope you will continue to support us in our final weeks. Please come by and buy some more muffins and cheese sandwiches and whatnot and get some really good coffee because, our baristas are the best and they're unionized. Did you know that? Yeah, and tomorrow will be our final day because, those baristas, we had to shut down. Just didn't have the profitability in there. If you have questions or outstanding gift cards, please email yada yada. We don't really care. We don't like unions. We're closing down. Yeah, Cafe Serez. Here's the next one. Cafe Serez employees start fundraiser with all 4 locations set for abrupt closure. F around and find out what happens. Hey, what could go wrong? We're going to start a union. We're going to unionize. Last week, DDP Restaurant Group announced that it would close all 4 of its locations months after a supermajority voted to unionize. Fundraiser has been launched to aid employees, which will help employees with rent, utilities, food, and other necessities as they search for work. Now, had they not unionized, they would have had a paycheck that could have contributed to rent, could have contributed to utilities, could have contributed to food and other necessities they need in their life, because that's why you have a job. You have certain monthly obligations that you are obligated to pay, like rent. Otherwise, you get thrown to the curb. But these jokers here felt like they had enough leverage to make, some union demands, and they're going to negotiate. And they learned the lesson that wage, union wages, can always go to 0. Because you're fired. You're fired. Sorry. You're fired. We're closing. We're not doing this. Homie, don't play that game. And game over. Game over. Wild. The GoFundMe page, organized by Miriam Karkachi, also fired, claims staff were about to cross the finish line with a fair contract. That is how wildly out of touch with reality you are. If you are thinking that you're going to have a fair contract, if you're negotiating and you're not understanding the economics of what's going on, and then all of a sudden fired, it's not a surprise. That's not a surprise. I mean, come on now. Really? And the ownership didn't have all these negotiations with you and say, well, we're so close. We can make this work. We're so close. No. They're just stringing you along. And then when it was appropriate time for them, they're like, you know what? We rethought this. We reimagined and we rethought the future with Cafe Serez here in Minneapolis. And you know what we're going to do? Yeah, we're going to close them all. We're going to close them. Yeah, no longer open. Yeah, that means you're fired. You're fired. Oh. Ooh. Human Resources did not send us an email. So now your butt hurt about not getting an email. All right. At some point in time, though, that whole closing thing is just hardcore, right? And no, I don't want to see anybody lose a job, but if people muck around and unionize in a position like this, F around and find out, right? Human Resources did not send us an email to let us know, as if they're obligated to. Hey, dummy, look at the sign on the window. What does it say? Closed. Some of us found our jobs have been axed from social media and the news. That's kind of how it goes. Yeah, when you unionize and they shut her down, all bets are off. There's no set protocol on how you do it, right? Campaign reads with staff reported devastated. Maybe you should have thought of that before. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. You unionized. Because there seems to be a pattern. This is not a one-off. Let's take a look at Starbucks as an example. This is what happened here with Starbucks.
Well, Starbucks has told workers at a Seattle and Kansas City, Missouri store that their shops will close. The Seattle store to become a licensed store with the QFC grocery chain, and the Kansas City store due to safety and security concerns. However, both stores filed for union elections, and the Starbucks Workers Union says these closures are about union busting, not safety. Let's bring in Danny. What's interesting to me about this story is that it's not just Starbucks. We have heard these accusations about union busting in other chains too.
Yeah. Oh, well, Trader Joe's is one that just came out, I think, last week or just a couple days ago about their Manhattan wine shop. And the store said that they were seeking to find a new location for that store. But workers there really claim that, otherwise, it's really just a retaliation for their unionization efforts, which is something that now Starbucks workers are saying as well when it comes to these two locations, one in Seattle and the other one in Kansas City, Missouri. At the Kansas City, Missouri, there's actually reports that workers there had about 5 minutes before this store even opened. They were warned that, this store is going to close. Now, I haven't confirmed that just yet, but here's reaction to that closure in Kansas City from a barista. You can see it on your screen. It says, shutting down stores for safety and security is a cowardly response to workers' concerns. Shutting down stores doesn't make anyone safer. It just makes it harder to pay rent. Now, I reached out to Starbucks for clarification. They have not gotten back to me in regards to that, but CEO Howard Schultz has said that they are, focused on reinvention as well as prioritizing safety concerns. So, but of course, according to the Starbucks Workers United, they're saying otherwise. And
there is a very legitimate storyline there with safety concerns, but it does also seem to be somewhat coincidental is what I would say. It's a coincidence. It's a coincidence that our Cafe Serez also closed down, right? Hey, what happened there? Well, safety concerns. No, they're just closing down. They're closing down because they can't make a go of it with the union's demands. So, you know what? We're going to go in a different direction. And that's literally what they're saying. They're going in a different direction with their restaurant format. They're going to get away from what Cafe Serez was, and they're going to go more with whatever Serez isn't.
According to the union, 19 Starbucks locations are closing or going to close down, and 8 of those 19 stores are unionized. So this move really does come
weird
after Starbucks had asked the National Labor Board about suspending all mail-in ballots when it comes to union elections, really after it sparked the integrity of the NLRB when it came to some of those votes. But like we said, a similar scenario at Trader Joe's as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to see sort of this back and forth that we're seeing between the employees and then the employers, especially when we see some momentum picking up on the labor side. Danny Romero, thanks so much for that.
Here's how the union finishes out. Not only has our hard work in securing a contract been completely disregarded, but our lives have been overturned. All right, maybe you should have thought about that before you thought, workers of the world unite, we're going to unionize. I mean, because this isn't the first time this has happened. This happens over and over and over again. We're now faced with the harsh reality of finding new work and making last-minute plans to stay secure. Well, you know what? You didn't have to do that, but you chose to. So actions have consequences, and unfortunately, yours ended up with you being, you got it, fired. As we struggle to find our footing in the wake of this incredibly consequential decision, we're turning to our community for support. It's hard to feel sorry when you're going into battle and you don't realize that one of the end results could be is that the plug gets pulled. That's a very real reality. And I think there's so many people that have been coddled in life and don't have the ability to understand, you know what? you might get spanked on this one. Whoosh. Meaning you lose your job. Meaning you can't pay your rent. Meaning whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, but did you not see this coming in any way, shape, or form? They won't do anything to us. I mean, we're the employees. What could they do? Fire us? Yeah, you're fired. Just over 2 days after the fundraiser's launch, it had raised more than $2,300 of its $15,000 goal. In other words, nobody cares about you losing your job because they're like, oh, yeah, you went that union route and then you get fired. 2,300 to 15K. That's not looking good either. There's no compassion here, right? It's like, hey, work your job, be happy. You understood the terms when you got into it. Now you want something more? All right. Well, you're going to probably need to leave the industry and go do something else, right? For its part, DDP Restaurant Group told Bring Me the News in a statement released by a law firm that its most immediate priority was to ensure that employees are, oh, I love this, are treated with the dignity and respect they deserve during this process. And it's because we fired them. Yeah. Hate to see you go, but I literally hope that you can find something that's going to make you happier down the road. It's not you. It's me. It's maybe sometime we can work together in the future. Adding that it is working with the union, Unite here Local 17th on details regarding the closures. Closed. You're fired. Hardcore reality check, right? That's what this is. This is a hardcore reality check. People are living in this fantasy land that just because they think they're worth something that they're probably not, the marketplace says otherwise. Because you get enough employees at that rate. I mean, that's market rate, right? It's like in real estate, willing buyer, willing seller, all conditions prerequisite to a fair sale determines fair market value. I'm not getting paid enough. Okay. Then the owner of the restaurant has the ability to say, well, that doesn't make me any profit. So as a result, you can quickly and easily closed. Simple as that. Simple as that. But the hardcore reality for these folks who believe that just because they're out, unionizing and doing their protest thing, and they all think the same way, and, they're all just going to, unionize and it's all going to get better. And then it goes wildly sideways. It's like, what fantasy land? Oh, you're in that fantasy land. But you know what? Keep voting blue because I'm sure that'll work out at some point down the road. Right? And that's what this is. This is a bunch of people voting blue thinking, well, my politicians have promised me this. I should be getting this, and I'm not. It's got to be those gosh darn owners who are probably Republican. I don't know. This is Minneapolis. This is Minnesota. They're burning stuff down there during the whole fentanyl Floyd riots. So anything could go, right? Anything could go. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.